All right, y'all. Welcome back to another live recording of the Jester Section Hiker podcast, your premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers. And I am your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. And today, y'all, I am fired up. And if anybody's in the chat, you guys need to put some fire emojis down there because I have my fellow podcaster, amazing storyteller, two-time author now. Look at this, y'all. Adirondack Campfire Stories. He's also an entrepreneur and founder of the Seek to Do More program and many more things that I can't even name and probably don't know of. James Appleton is here. He is getting ready to come on the screen here shortly. For all of you that are in the chat, I truly appreciate you joining us this morning. But before we get to James, y'all, this is going to be a real and raw episode. We're not holding anything back, myself or James, as we get into ultimately why I chose James as a coach. Not to just get ready for a huge hike that I want to do this summer, but actually for my life, to change my mentality, to change how I've been operating spiritually and so much more. And y'all, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, as of this morning, I have dropped 10 pounds. And James says that we need to share our results. So I'm going to go ahead and share that first and foremost because I know y'all are going to be asking that in the chat. And the last time I recorded an episode, I was down 7 pounds. So we are seeing progress. But for those of you that may be listening that are not familiar with what I'm going to call my journey over the last 2.5, almost 3 years, I've written a timeline here. I'm going to go through it really briefly, but I think it's important to go ahead and share that because that is what has ultimately led to working with James. So back in October of 2021, I scheduled myself to go in and what was supposed to be a simple tendon repair in my foot turned into, it was a nightmare. So it's your peroneal or peroneal tendon that goes down the side, starts in your knee, goes down the side of your ankle, and ultimately ends up at your fifth metatarsal. It was inflamed, had some issues, and I was assured, hey, we'll just go in here and clean it up and you'll be good to go. Well, that is not what happened. So almost a year later, in November of 2022, I had to have a corrective surgery. And y'all, I went down some mental battles that I never thought I would go down, but ultimately found an amazing surgeon, Dr. Ellington, who did a corrective surgery. And after that, because of the 2 surgeries in February of 2023, it didn't stop. I had to have part of my sural nerve removed. I had nerve damage in my foot, and that surgery was also done by Dr. Ellington. And so after that, I went through 7 months of physical therapy with Dr. Tracey, who you all met and was on the show a few months back. And if you haven't listened to that episode, I highly recommend you all going and listening to that. And y'all, this past Thanksgiving, I graduated from physical therapy. And after that, I decided I'm still not done. Because even though my foot was on the mend and it was getting stronger and stronger and stronger, something else happened to me. I gained weight. I was still having mental battles. And one day I just went in my hiking room and I tried on my hiking clothes. And this was this past December. And oh my God, y'all, my hiking clothes, I could barely get my shirt buttoned. I mean, it was awful. I mean, I pretty much had a mental breakdown and right then and there decided that that's a wrap. I needed to do something. And I was on Instagram one day, and y'all know that James and I have known each other since 2019. And I knew James had gone through his own transformation himself over the last 10 years. Y'all, James has lost over 100 pounds. He has also, he has the number one podcast in the Adirondacks. He's a hiker. He's a guide. He has a coaching program. And I started following his coaching program probably over a year ago. And in December, I saw a post. And the post said, hey, listen, I've got a couple openings for my coaching program. And you know what? I said, I've got nothing to lose. I know James. So I sent him a DM on Instagram. And y'all, James is here to help me tell the rest of the story. So please welcome back to the show, Mr. James Appleton. How are you doing this morning?
Julie, I'm doing well. I've already shoveled snow for an hour. So up here in the Adirondacks, it is snowing. We're getting 10 to 16 inches this weekend. So I see in the chat, we have Belinda from Texas. We have Lisa from Alabama. You're in North Carolina. So up here, it is snowing. So I'm in the dead of winter, but unfortunately, I'm shoveling snow. I'd like spring, but overall, I'm good. Besides for winter, just will not go away.
And I have to say, y'all, James is in what he calls his shed quarters. So it's actually a place that you have built on your property, and your background and everything looks absolutely wonderful. And you know what, James? I'm excited you're here. I have gotten real personal with you, but I thought we would start off the show with, what were your thoughts when, we know each other as podcasters. We know each other on Instagram. You've been on the show before. We talked about your journey specifically in the Adirondacks. But what were your thoughts when I reached out to you for your coaching services? Let's start there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've known each other for a long time. We started our podcast around the same time. And a lot of other podcasters in that time frame have come and gone. You're one of the only people who's still here from when I knew, as far as like our kind of circle goes. So I've always had nothing but respect for you and admiration, because podcasting's hard. It's hard to keep up. It is a thankless endeavor, but we do it because there's just something about it that we enjoy. Belinda wrote, shoveling snow is a workout that I don't miss. I hear you. I like the winter. But usually here in the Adirondacks, winter starts in like November and goes until through April. So around March, though, you get ready for spring. Like I'm ready for spring, but it sticks around for a long time. So these big snowstorms can be devastating, but you got to get outside into the mountains and enjoy it. Otherwise, it can be pretty brutal. But anyways, I've known you for so long, and I've always had nothing but admiration for you. So when you reached out to me, I said, that would be awesome to connect with you on a deeper level and a more personal level, and to actually be a part of your journey to help you win, especially since we're both in the hiking community. We both love to hike mountains, walk up mountains, walk in the woods. So we had a lot in common right from the get-go. And having known you, it definitely made it an easy transition in terms of chatting and finding out, where are you right now? What are your goals? What are you trying to get to? And from there, it just worked. And you're down 10 pounds. Congrats. Go pick up a 10-pound dumbbell. That really is or a 10-pound weight. Like that really will show you mentally, holy crap, this is real weight that I've dropped off of my body. So great work. You get in there, you do the work, even on the days you don't feel like it. Your mindset is just through the roof now. And that is ultimately what it takes to get to any goal that you have, whether it's fitness related, work related, whatever. You got to have your brain in the game, and you're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that, James. And I think our first phone call, actually it was a Zoom call. We chatted, it was almost 2 hours, and you asked me many, many, many questions. And I know the first thing I said to you was, look, my hiking clothes don't fit. I want to drop weight. And you were like, well, we can do that, but there are some other things that, come along with this process. Are you willing to commit to, these other steps that come along with this process. And I will admit, I mean, for myself, it's been a journey. And I'm almost at the 90-day mark already. And when I first started this, most people ask, well, what diet are you on? Are you like vegan now? Are you like, well, what are you doing? Paleo or what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm not doing any of that. Ultimately, you said you can eat what you want, but you have to eat a certain amount of protein a day and you have to drink a certain amount of water per day. So that is just part of the program, but help us squelch some things when it comes to, people reaching out to you like me saying, I just want to lose 10 pounds. Well, there's more to it than that. And you're not going to go on some crazy diet. And really what this has ultimately done for me, this is a lifetime transformation. And you have helped me see that. So how do you squelch that when people come to you? Because that's the first thing people ask. It's like going hiking and people go, oh, what is your backpack? Oh, what tent are you carrying? That's not going to help you be a better hiker. Dropping pounds in 2 weeks is not going to help you, ultimately over your lifespan. So help us squelch that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the wanting to lose 10 pounds, wanting to lose 20 pounds, wanting to lose 100 pounds, like that's just surface level. There's so much more underneath that. It's like, why do you want to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds? It's like, let's take you, for example. You wanted to lose the weight so you can go live the life that you want. So you can go hiking, so you can be on the trail. You can feel confident when you're on the trail. You can walk through the woods knowing that your body and your fitness level is not going to slow you down, so that you can enjoy the things you like to do. If you're a father, you want to be in shape. So yeah, we want to lose the dad bod, lose the gut. But like below that, you peel the onion back, like it's so that you can keep up with your kids. You can make memories with them. You can be the leader that your family needs. You can, like, there's always below the surface, right? So like that 10 pounds, 20 pounds, that's very surface level. So you got to kind of figure out, well, what's below that that's really causing it to be a problem, and also what's stopping you, because you already know. What do you need to do to lose weight? 100% of people on the planet know, I have to eat better and I have to exercise. Well, what do you need me for? You already know what to do. So you see that, like with the 10 pounds thing, it's like, that's the top of the onion. You peel it back, and that's how you get to really figure out what's wrong. Like, what do you need help with? Where are you? What is stopping you? And all of that stuff happens up here in the brain. Like, the brain is more important than the sets and the reps and the exercises or the foods to eat. So, that's why I ask you all those questions. And that's really what it comes down to. So with my program, I take a more transformative kind of angle with it, because what good is it if I help you lose 20 pounds and then I just let go? And then what happens? You just yo-yo diet like everybody else, because you didn't form the mental toughness. You didn't form the actual discipline and the consistency and all the things that it takes to keep it off. Quite frankly, one of my biggest compliments that I receive from people is when I post a transformation picture and people will say, I forget that you used to look like that. To me, that's the biggest compliment, because I've never put it back on. Like, the statistics are actually quite staggering for people who have 50 plus pound weight loss transformations. It's like within 3 years, I think the statistic is like 75% put at least 2/3 of the weight back on within the first 3 years after dropping the weight. And for me, I've never put it back on, because as you know, and as I tell you weekly, do not take your foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Because once you do, the car rolls back down the hill. So, that's the approach we take. But yeah, I mean, it's all mental. We all know what we need to do. And taking your trail analogy with, people saying, oh, what tent do you have? What boots do you have? Like, that is so surface level. Any tent will work, just like any workout program will work. Any boots will work, just like any diet will work. And there's certain things that are going to fit your body better. There's certain shoes that will work better for you than will work for me. Just like there's certain diets that will work better for you than work for me. It's very surface level. And once you peel the onion back, you start to see, oh, I need flat shoes. oh, I need a training program that lets me train from home, or I need to go to the gym because I'm not motivated to train when I'm at home. Everyone's got those different kind of uniquenesses. And so you have to get to that, which is why I asked you all those questions. But the transformative kind of component of coaching in general, or just, what I do, is it's unique to each person because everyone's got their own kind of stuff to deal with.
One of the things that was extremely important to me, there were multiple things that were extremely important. First of all, I was not going to join a gym and go get a personal trainer, that's a meathead or whatever, and just have them tell me do certain exercises and they don't hike. So I wanted somebody that was a hiker, that is out in the woods, that trains, that knows how to do these things. But ultimately, over my journey, and you keep telling me to share my journey, and it's hard. It's hard to share it because at times I got really low, and it's hard to share those points. But one of the things that was very important to me, because over these last 2.5, 3 years, my spiritual component is what really it saved me. And it continues to save me. And one of the things that I wanted to commit to do was read my Bible, go to church every Sunday, every single time that it was possible. I wanted to, and you call it sharpening, your knife. And, I grew up in a Christian household. And I think for the first 50 years of my life, I took that for granted. And it took me going to a very, very low level to realize I needed that back in my life. And I'm not going to get emotional about it because it's a good thing. So another component that I loved about you is that you are a spiritual guy and you talk about it. And that is part of the program. So talk about that a little bit and why the spiritual component is important for you as well.
Sure. So there's 3 parts of what I do. People come to me just like you did. Hey, I want to drop some weight. I say, cool. That's great. It's a great goal to have. Why do you want to drop the weight? What do you want to do? What is holding you back in your life so that, without that weight on you, what does your life look like? How will it get better? And I take it a step further. After all, the program is called Seek to Do More. I take it a step further and I say, okay, we're not going to just help you lose weight. We're going to rewire your brain, because your brain is what is going to get you to show up on the days you don't feel like it. And ultimately, showing up is what matters most. And then on top of that, there's the physical component, there's the spiritual, or the physical component, the mental component, and the spiritual component of Seek to Do More. So those are like the pillars, you could say, of the things that we seek to improve. Because if everything is working, you will be thriving. But if 1 or 2 of the things are working, but 1 is lacking, then you're not going to be thriving. And quite frankly, your plane will fly, but eventually your plane is going to crash. If all 3, your spiritual life, your physical health, and your mental health, are not all working and thriving, you're going to crash. So I take the spiritual component very, very, very serious. And yes, I am a Christian man myself. I'm a Christian who has a very dirty potty mouth, so I do apologize if I start swearing on the program.
Don't start swearing on the program.
I'm trying not to. But sometimes I just start ripping fire and it comes out. I try so hard not to. So I do apologize in advance. But your spiritual component is like, and for certain people, it's going to be different. Like I have clients who don't believe in God at all, and it's like, cool. That's for you. You're on your own journey. I'm on my journey. Julie's on hers. But the spiritual component is like, who are you that you show up to, and like who do you show up as to the world? And if you're not cognizant of that, you're not cognizant that, oh, you were kind of a jerk to this person, or oh, the way that you envy what this person has, like, is ugly within inside of you. It doesn't help you. Or, it's like, if we're not cognizant of who we are showing up in the world as, we can't improve it. So that's why the spiritual component is very important. And when it comes to anybody who's like a person of faith, obviously your faith is going to be the foundation of that. Your pursuit of God, your pursuit of the religion that you believe in, that the faith you have. And if you don't, well, it's still like, you still need to evaluate yourself and connect with yourself to figure out, okay, what is going well? What is not going well? Okay, this is not going well. Why isn't it going well? Well, I keep doing X, Y, and Z, which is leading to this. Okay, great. So now we need to create a plan to not be doing X, Y, and Z. Like, you need to analyze yourself. And if we don't, well, then we're the boss that nobody respects. We're the person, the coworker that everybody hates, but this guy doesn't realize it because he's never really taken a check as to how he shows up into the world. So these are all just different parts of the equation. But again, I just believe so strongly that, like, I'm not just here to help you lose 20 pounds. I want to elevate your entire existence. And with that, your spiritual life needs to be on fire. And it doesn't necessarily mean religion. It just means like you are so spiritually connected with yourself to improve. Your physical health needs to be through the roof, because I feel that's the foundation of existence. Because we don't have our physical health, we're not alive. So it is the foundation, and nothing builds confidence more than, liking what you see in the mirror and performing, let's say on the trail. Nothing builds confidence more than doing a hike that you didn't think you could do. And all of a sudden, whoa, my body could do it. I could do it. Boom, next level confidence right there. And then your mental strength is really what gets you to show up for everything. So if all of those things are firing on all cylinders, life is going to look a lot different for you. And I only know this because I've lived the life. I've been on this journey for 10 years. And I've seen it work for me. I've seen it work for all these other clients of mine. And since starting Seek to Do More a couple years ago. So it's like, I know that what we're doing every day to sharpen our blade, as you said earlier, to sharpen our knife, because a dull knife is a useless knife. But when we sharpen ourselves, like, we cut better, life moves better. We are just better, stronger versions of ourselves. And I think we all owe it to ourselves to experience our fullest potential, experience like what we have. And, I always tell people, Julie, I've told you this 100 times. I am just your average Joe. But if your average Joe like me can get himself to go to the gym, can get himself to start eating right, and can go on the journey and see it through and continue seeing it through. I still fight the same battles now that I fought 10 years ago when it comes to your diet, when it comes to your training, but I just have gotten better at winning those battles, because that's really what it comes down to. The battles never go away. You just get better at winning them. But if I can do it, well, so can everybody else, because I am, again, average Joe. I always use this as an example. Small high school, small town that I went to, that I live in, 66 people in my graduating class. I graduated, I was number 33 when it comes to GPA in my graduating class. So like, I was the average Joe of average Joes. But if I can do it, so can everybody else. And I genuinely believe that, like, with every fiber of my being. And if you're the type of person that kind of rolls their eyes when they see, when people say that kind of cliche that, like, if I can do it, you can too. I encourage you to go on Instagram, search the hashtag Transformation Tuesday, and you will see thousands of people just like you who did it. So that should help show you that, oh, I can do it too. And it's hard. It's not easy. And it's ups and downs. You're going to have times where you're thriving, times where you're low, but it's all about not quitting. And once you don't quit and you make it your lifestyle, you enjoy the process and you let the process rip, things are going to change. And look at you. You're down 10 pounds. That's a chunk of, I wish you could see 10, and you're down 10 pounds, but you haven't lost any muscle, because we're training every day to make sure we are maintaining muscle. Because the last thing you want to do is to lose muscle. No, that's not what we want. We don't lose fat, because if we lose muscle, well, we've just done ourselves a disservice, actually, because muscle, gets rid of fat. So we need as much of it as possible, so.
And I'm training at home, and I'm training on the trail. And you kind of catered to, that was some more questions you asked me, like, what kind of training do you like to do? But then I made the mistake. I told you that I had started using the trap bar at physical therapy. And you're like, all right, great, perfect. We're going to get you a trap bar. You could do things at home. So those are the kind of things that I did. At one point, I think I was going to join a gym, but I was like, I can't, that's just not me. So
yeah, and I love that. I remember when you were like, I'm going to go join a gym tomorrow. I'm so fired up. And then like the following day, you're like, I didn't join the gym. I was like, I don't really want to. I said, that's cool. I was like, that's fine. But it's funny because you were so fired up, and then you went there, and I get it.
I went to the gym and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah,
Like,
and I totally get that. And you are not alone in that thought process. I train in my garage, so I invested in a home gym. Best investment I ever made in my life. And of course, it started with like a maybe like $600 investment, and now I have probably $10,000 worth of stuff in there. But like over time, you just buy one thing, then you buy another thing, and it's like over time. But best investment I ever made in my life. Even just the drives to the gym. Well, if I can save myself 20 minutes of driving, like, well, there's half your workout. Boom, right at your house. But then there's other people, like I have some clients who just cannot train at home. They have to go to the gym because they need that separation. I am like you. I'd rather be right at my house. And I travel all year long, for business and work. So I constantly have to train in commercial gyms, and every time I go in, I just cringe. It's not the environment for me either, because I'm like a grungy garage gym kind of guy. But I see.
Yeah, we've got a good onward with Omi.
Asked a question.
Yeah, let's pop that up on the screen here. Hey, Omi, it's good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Omi wants to know, and this is an awesome question, because I know, James, you're going to nail this answer. So Omi wants to know, can you talk about being an older woman and how to manage a slowing metabolism?
Sure. First off, as a podcaster, this platform is absolutely amazing. Like this whole platform where people are chatting in and asking questions, and you can put it on the screen. Amazing. But
I told you, James, you got to get on it, man.
It really is. Just like from fellow podcaster to podcaster, like, holy cow, this is cool. So being an older woman and how to manage a slowing metabolism. Yep. You need to have you need to be focused on eating protein, because the older we get, our body sheds muscle. So even from 35 years old, your body goes over the hump of saying, like, I don't need the muscle if I don't use it. So a slowing metabolism, actually what you need to be doing is eating a high protein diet. And as Julie learned, more protein than you ever imagined, but then out of all of a sudden, it starts to feel normal. And then it starts to be something that it just becomes what you do. And that's when your body starts to feel better, starts to perform better. Also too, lack of protein is attributed to people, losing hair, thinning nails, just becoming frail the older you get. So high protein. And when I say high protein, the goal is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 120 pounds, your goal should be 120 grams of protein. Some people say, holy cow, that's so much, but it's actually because most people are so under eating protein, and they abide by, the food pyramid, which is absolute trash. Yeah, that will be what you want to do to start. And then the second thing is to build muscle, strength training, because again, if you don't use it, you lose it. Your body is going to shed muscle. My father is 67 years old. I have him on a trap bar deadlifting program, and he just does it every morning. He does his workout, and that's why I love the trap bar. We talked about it before, especially for hiking. It's the best exercise, whether you're a 10-year-old kid, or you're a 85-year-old woman. I think the trap bar deadlift is the number one exercise everyone should do. It just mimics picking something up off the ground, and just in like the most biomechanical way, where it's just your hands are at your sides. You just bend over, pick it up off the ground. All the muscles in your body are working together. It's just a very simple, natural movement. But by building muscle, you are going to boost your metabolism, which is what we want, right? We want to be able to eat and our metabolism work for us. And when you eat a high protein diet, the food that you eat doesn't store in your body the same way. Protein builds muscle, maintains muscle, and keeps you full. Carbs are energy, and carbs aren't the devil, but the reason that people have demonized carbohydrates, like carbs themselves are fine. The problem is it's a lot easier to eat 1,000 calories of rice and potatoes than it is 1,000 calories of beef or chicken, right? It's just easier to do that. So we can overeat carbs pretty easily. So with that, that's why the high protein comes in, and protein will basically help you build that muscle and maintain the muscle. The more muscle you have, the more fat you're going to burn, and the more food and calories that you're going to need to eat. And all of a sudden, like, everything's working together. And instead of just eating high carb diets, low protein diets, which is what most of society eats, and that's when people don't have much muscle on their body, they have a lot of fat on their body. Hate to say it, sorry hikers, but most backpackers have no muscle on their body, and that's why people can hammer out long days on the trail, 20-mile days. Yeah, awesome, but you still don't look like somebody who's in shape. And the reason is being, in general, the backpacking community especially is high carb, low protein, and no focus on building muscle. So that's really how it breaks down. And it's probably going to offend some people, but like, that's just the truth.
I'm not here to.
That's the truth though. That's really what it comes down to.
And most hikers, I mean, James, we don't talk about this stuff. I mean, because the hiking community, it's really sexy to talk about your gear. And it's really sexy to talk about, it now seems to be the trend where, I'm a 8-time through hiker and I've done over 30,000 miles. And this is my new $8,000 tent that I bought this year. And I can't watch that stuff anymore because that's just not where I'm at. You know, I'm all about, I want my body to last. I mean, truth be told, I've done 30,000 miles in my local nature preserve. And what that did is that got me to injury. And, you know, a lot of hikers get injured on trail. Hikers don't talk about their injuries and what that leads to, malnutrition on the trail. But my ultimate goal is now, you know, the next 50 years of my life is I just want to be able to hike whenever I want to. Healthy and, you know, in a good fashion whenever I want to go. And I just want to touch on the protein from my side of it. Y'all, I'm not going to say how much I weigh because it is just totally embarrassing. I can't even deal. I'm still not dealing with how much weight I let myself gain over these last couple of years. And that's something that I'm still processing. But when it came to the protein, you know, James was like, let's start you off with X amount of protein. And within the first 30 days of the program, you're kind of learning and, you know, getting in this rhythm that you need to get into so you can go to the next 30 days and then the following 30 days, which ultimately leads you to 90 days. But the first week or 10 days, I would text James and I'd be like, I cannot eat anymore. I'm stuffed. You know, I just cannot eat my body weight in protein. And you didn't text me back and say, that's, you know, just eat. It's horrible. Just do it. You texted me back and said, that's okay. Keep going. You know, there's tomorrow. There's the next day. There's the next day. And honestly, I want to say it took me, you know, 30 days to adapt, not only to the protein, but to the water that I was adding in my life as well. So it doesn't happen overnight. I am still growing and learning and am nowhere near done, you know, with the transformation that I'm going through because I don't know what it ultimately is going to look like. So I just wanted to give my perspective because I'm in it. I'm in the program. And James is still, how many days are you, James? 800 or something like that days, you know?
I have been doing Seek to Do More personally within my own life, 758 days this morning. And I still keep track. I still, just like you, I'm checking the boxes every day on my accountability logs that we print out and we check off to hold us accountable. I have a binder. It's like this thick, just of pieces of paper that have printed out because if we don't hold ourselves accountable, nobody else will. But yeah, I'm in the trenches living the same life, doing the same things that I have you and all the other clients doing, because what's the alternative? The alternative is I let my fitness slip. I let my mental health slip. I let my spiritual life slip. And I can't afford that. We only get one chance at this life. We got other people out there. You got people who depend on you. You want to live a thriving life. Like we got to put in the work so that we get those results because that's what we want.
Yeah.
And we owe it to ourselves to be our strongest self. I truly believe that. And
I'll
that's
say in these
that's
last
where I'm
90
at.
days, I mean, I have put you through the ringer, really. I've had to relearn how to go out to eat. And I don't even like going out to eat anymore because it's just by the time I get done ordering, it's like plain this, plain that. Don't put this sauce on there. Don't do this. Don't do that. I'm like, I'd just rather cook my meal at home. I'm still working my way through that because going out
Mhm.
to eat is not a bad thing. But for me, it is right now because I'm still adjusting and I want to stick to my goals and I want to stick to what I'm doing. But over the last 90 days, and Belinda, we are going to get to your question because I think that's a great question for James to answer. But I want James to answer this first because I want y'all to know what James has been dealing with me. So within this first 90 days, I'm getting ready to hit 90 days here in less than a week. I've tried to quit. I've been sick not once, but twice. And my most recent sickness was this week. I think I got norovirus is honestly what I think I had. I had a stomach bug, y'all. It about killed me dead. And I texted James and I said, look, I am freaking dying. And you didn't respond in any other manner than I thought you would. You were like, all right, well, now we have to adjust. You can still do this, you can still do this. And if you can't eat, don't force things. So how do you deal with people like me? Because I look at myself and the number one thing I deal with, and I'll be honest with everybody, is self-sabotage. And you told me I can't remember if you said knock it out of the knees or something like that. Every time I try to self-sabotage myself, stop it, is basically what you said. Because for the last 50 years, I've rewarded myself with food.
Mhm.
You have a celebration, you eat. You feel terrible, you eat. You want to get that, instant satisfaction. And I mean, you've been dealing with me over the last 90 days, so I commend you for that. But how do you coach someone through these processes, especially when I wanted to quit?
Yeah, I mean, you've been a dream, and I say that I get so much energy from you because you are so mentally on fire, and that's what this is about. Like the physical fitness, the physical, goals come when you're mentally on fire. Like that's what happens. That's why I put so much focus on your building mental toughness, building this fortitude where you're going to show up, and that's what matters most is showing up. The sets, the reps, the exercises, they're secondary. Showing up is what matters most, and long term, not quitting, keeping going. You asked a lot of questions, so let
I
me
know.
touch
So,
on a
well,
lot of
first of all,
things.
yeah, I quit. I've been sick twice.
Yep,
And I had to travel. I went out of town with students for 4 days. Oh my God.
yep,
And going out to just obstacles, what people would
yep.
call obstacles, but I don't think we really
Sure.
call them that.
Well, the biggest part of Seek to Do More is learning to overcome your circumstances. You tell me, or you hear me say that all the time. We learn to overcome our circumstances. Yes, this is. I'm traveling with the kids. Okay, I don't feel well. I have no time today. Great, you can still do it. Like, and when you start to get over that mental hump where once you hit a roadblock, it stops you dead in your tracks. But once you start to become the type of person that says, okay, I hit a roadblock. What am I going to do? Am I going to walk around the wall? Am I going to climb over the wall? Or am I going to bust through the wall? And when you start to kind of think about it like that, all of a sudden, oh, I'm traveling. I have a field trip with the kids. Okay. Well, nobody's forcing any piece of food down your mouth. You can still make the best possible choices and you could still let you keep moving forward. Or you don't have time today. Okay, I don't have time today. This happened and this happened and this happened. Okay, so does that mean you're just going to do nothing? No. You got 10 minutes. Okay, great. We got 10 minutes. Make it count. Like when you start to kind of default to this, I'm going to overcome my circumstances no matter what, you become absolutely unstoppable. And that's what we're here to do, because that is what gets you to show up to the gym. And when you keep showing up to the gym, you lose the weight that you're looking for. When you keep showing up for your relationships and doing the things that make them better, all of a sudden your relationship is thriving. And that's good, right? That makes our life better. You do the things that sharpen your mind. And when your mind can think well, you can concentrate, your brain is working well. Well, all of a sudden you can do everything else better too. You're better at work. You're a better employee. You're more articulate. You're smarter. You're operating at a higher level than the average Joe. And, so we do all these things, but it's about overcoming your circumstances and all these things, being sick, having this field trip, all these things, like you can still do stuff. And when you start using these challenges as a opportunity, you look at them, this is an opportunity to show myself, what am I made of? What am I capable of? For example, you were sick. So I said, okay, cool. Here's an opportunity for you to show yourself just how freaking tough you are. Okay, what can you do? Well, you had stomach thing. Okay, we can go out for a walk, right? Great, go for a walk. You can still read. You can still, focus your time on learning that we do every day. We have these 7 commitments that we do every day. Great. You can still do all these other ones. Great. Make it happen. And you can still do versions of the other things too. You don't have to let the challenge stop you. But 99% of people, once they hit that first roadblock, it's all over. And that's what I try to keep you in the game, learning and figuring out for yourself and having these light bulb moments where, oh, I can jump over the wall, go around the wall, or bust through the wall. And when you do, the world better watch out, because that's when you've arrived, and that's when nothing will stop you, which is why we use the phrase unstoppable, because that is when you are become unstoppable, quite literally, in fact. But yeah, it's about overcoming your circumstances. Life isn't always going to be, sunshine and rainbows. In fact, it rarely is. So when you can continue moving forward towards your goals despite unideal circumstances, that's when you're going to get to those goals, because everything is a series of ups and downs, just like climbing mountains, up and down. You're in the valley, you're on the peak. You're in the valley, you're on the peak. It doesn't change, but your mindset towards challenge and overcoming it will change when you hold yourself accountable. You start doing the things, whether you feel like it or not. As doers, we talk about this all the time in our coaching sessions. It's like, we don't operate on emotions. We operate on standards. When you have standards, your emotions are irrelevant. You're going to show up because we have standards that we're here to uphold. And those are the standards that get you the weight loss. They get you the changes in life that you want. So you can go hiking. It's like, you could be backpacking, saying, oh, backpacking's gonna be hard today. I don't really want to do this. But you could also say, oh, this is what I plan to do, so I'm going to go do it, because whether I feel like it or not. And when you get there, you will always be happy. I'm so happy I pushed through. I'm so happy I used this day where I didn't feel like it as an opportunity to show myself just how freaking tough I am, because that will come later in life when you have real problems. Like, we use what we learn in the gym as training, as literal reps for life. Getting yourself to show up to the gym is easy. What's not easy? Tragedy, death, bills, unexpected, hardships. But when we've done the reps to show ourselves how A, mentally strong we are, B, physically strong we are, and C, how just tough we are and gritty, well, all of a sudden we have these challenges. We have, these bills come up. It's like, okay, I can sit and piss and moan and cry about it, or I could say, okay, I got these bills. They suck. I accept that they suck. All right, let's get them paid. What else can I do? Okay, I could cut back on this. I could go do this extra job over here, make some money to do that. Like, you just become a doer. You become a person who does not let challenge destroy them, but instead says, watch this when challenge arrives. And that we learn to become that type of person by doing the reps in the gym, by doing the reps in the program, where like you do the things whether you wanted to or not. Like, it all kind of complements each other, and it all works together in synergy, which is why, it's the spiritual, the physical, and the mental component of the program to raise every element of your life at the same time. And then when you do, all of a sudden challenge is like, all right, it's just another challenge. And then after a while, you have them stacked. You have quivers. You have arrows in your quiver. Where like all the different times that you've done this, and then all of a sudden it's like, I've done it 16 times before. I do it again. No big deal. And that's when all the people around you, all the people you work with, all the people in your family, all the people who know you, they like, man, Julie operates at a different level. She is just, there's something different about her. And yeah, you're damn right. There's something different about her because she's done the work to get there and to become that type of person. And anyone can. You just need the right accountability. You need the right system. You need the right kind of thought process to get your brain to kind of rewire itself. And when you do, that's why I'm on day 700 and whatever, 50 something, because what's the alternative? Going back to who I was before?
No
way.
That's not an alternative anymore.
No way.
Yeah.
So
no. So
long answer, but also you asked like 18 questions. So
I know I did.
I had to hit them all. I had to hit them all, but more practical answers because so many people want some practical answers to those. You go out to eat. You don't know what to order. Okay. What can you order that is a better choice? Also, there's other ways to do it. It's like, okay, you're going to go out to eat tonight. Okay, cool. What can I do today throughout the day to make up for that? Let's say I just want to go out to eat. I just want to enjoy my meal, get something really awesome. Great. Be super clean throughout the entire day. Go get a workout in right before you go to the restaurant, or do an additional little like 5 or 10 minute burner exercise, workout today. Do a second one. Like there's so many things you can do to set yourself up and to enjoy those times. And then also at the restaurant, you can just say, okay, what's the best choice that I can make? There's different ways around it, but you see what I'm saying is like the foundation is what can I do to become better, to keep moving forward, and as opposed to crumbling.
One of the things that's coming back that you told me to do in the very beginning, and this will probably help people because this helps me tremendously, because I love to eat chips. I'm a chips person. So in the evening, I need a little snack. Well, a snack turns into like a whole bag of chips, and then I feel disgusting, and then I don't like myself. So I have that pattern with chips. I just can't help it. And one of the things that you told me was, well, this is how I deal with chips. You eat chips at other people's houses. Like if you go to a birthday party or whatever, if you go, watch the football game or the basketball game, it's March Madness. If you go over to somebody's house, you eat the chips at their house and then you go home. I mean, a handful or whatever. And I have used that mentality. I have not eaten chips. But you haven't said don't eat chips. You said just not now.
Yeah.
Just not now. Right now. I mean, just not right now.
We have when you have goals you're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still have them. And it's about not doing things that are going to derail you. Some people, my wife is very good at this. She can so easily just have a meal and like it not phase her. And then the next meal, she's right back, like no phasing. And that's great. A lot of people, that one meal, once you crack the door open, the door opens more and more and more. And then all of a sudden you're just like off the rails. I use the analogy a lot too about like you fall off the horse. Do you hop right back on, or do you let the wagon run you over too? Most people, me included in the past, have let the wagon run me over. So, if that's
the wagon
case,
full of bags of chips, man, ran me over. And
chips are also my thing too. Like I told you, like I will eat chips at other people's houses when there's like an event, a barbecue or a birthday party, or like, Thanksgiving hors d'oeuvres, like that sort of thing. Because I'm the same way. I'll hammer 1,000 calories of chips without flinching.
Oh yeah.
Because I like chips. And I've learned like I can't control myself like an alcoholic. You're trying not to drink. You can't have it in the house. Same thing with me with chips. It's a huge downfall of mine. And then when I do have them, I enjoy the crap out of it. This is the time I'm going to enjoy, because I'm not going to live with a life without pizza. I'm not going to live life without chips. But there's times where it's time for chips, time for pizza, it's time for birthday cake, and there's times where it's not. And it's about you becoming, personally accountable to yourself to know when those times are.
Yeah.
And if you're going after weight loss goals, you're going after these other things, you can reward yourself if you want, or have the weekly cheat meals or whatever it might be that works for you, so that you can continue on the long-term goal and the long-term plan, because that's what it's about. But it's also about knowing like, okay, it will slow down my progress to the goals, but more so than that, more than the calories, it's like, I have found that these things have they create mental hurdles where, again, I use the analogy of cracking the door open. If you stay super clean and super on point and super focused, the second you have that one meal that could derail you or could be the start of falling off the horse, you cracked the door open. All of a sudden, shoot, the door's open now. I need to slam that thing shut. Or what happens for most people is the door slowly opens and opens and opens, and before you know it, it is wide open.
Yeah.
So you're doing a fantastic job, and we've already discussed this in your coaching calls because I gave you the opportunities to crack the door.
You have.
Open.
You've given me a couple opportunities. Nope.
You said, no, I can't crack the door open because I know it's going to swing open once it opens. And that is what it's about. You have become mentally strong and mentally aware of how you operate so that you can set yourself up for success, which is, again, why this program. You came to me to lose a few pounds, but I'm hammering home that it is a mental game more than anything else. And when you get that mental game taken care of, it will lead to the other things, the weight loss, all this stuff, so long as you don't quit.
Yeah. All right, 2 more things, because
Yes.
y'all, you know how I go. We're pushing an hour, but I told everybody in advance this was going to be a little bit longer episode. So I want to address Belinda's earlier question,
Sure.
and then I want to address something that's upcoming. So at the end of 90 days, you have everybody do some type of challenge. That's what I'm going to call it. So I want to talk about that. But let's do, I'm going to put Belinda's question up on the screen. She says, the stiffness of getting older has discouraged me. I hike and stretch every day for a month, miss a day, and everything stiffens up. Why? How long does that last?
I would say, I guess I can't really relate to how stiff, missing hiking and stretching for a month and then missing a single day, everything stiffens up. I feel like that's just going to be kind of the natural sort of thing. But also, the older we get, the more we need to warm up before doing things. So I think the stiffness that you're talking about is it's a pretty natural thing. I continue to go back to what I said earlier in the show with the older we get, the more our focus needs to be on building muscle and maintaining strength because our body wants to get rid of muscle. A strong person ages better, ages more comfortably. There's people here where I live in the Adirondack High Peaks. There's an 80-year-old man who is on his 80th round of the Adirondack 46 High Peaks. And you ask him man, how do you keep doing this? He says, I just don't stop. Boom. There's the most monumental thought process. He just doesn't stop. And he's hammering out these huge days in the Adirondack Mountains. It's about just not stopping. So to answer your question, Belinda, you're hiking and stretching every day. And if you miss a day, everything stiffens up. There's also going to be an element of just needing to do more to warm up. But again, as far as hiking and stretching goes, there is a point where training your muscles to get stronger, just pure strength, will benefit you, especially long term as you get older. There's another question I saw here as well. Oh, it's from Belinda as well. She said her father's dying of cancer and I care for him. Getting out and breathing and pushing my body is something for me that renews me better than the cupcake I want. I wanted to mention that. Absolutely, because you're benefiting yourself. You're doing something better for yourself. And again, I tell Julie, I tell everybody, when you want, let's take the cupcake, for example. The cupcake, fun for 10 seconds while you eat it. And then the rest of the afternoon, you're like, man, I opened the door, I cracked the door open, or I didn't need that. Whereas, let's talk training, for example. Oh man, that 20-minute workout I did sucked while I was doing it. It was hard. I was breathing heavy and it wasn't fun. But how do you feel for the rest of the day? So it's there's that, the old expression or the old cliche, when with eating something unhealthy, a moment on your lips, forever on your hips. It's the same concept. So it's that cupcake was good for just 2 seconds. And then the rest of the day, you do have that kind of mental, why did I do this? Or if you had a really crappy meal versus if you eat the healthy meal, you eat the clean meal, then for the rest of the day, you actually have a mental boost. You feel stronger mentally because you didn't give in to those demons inside your head saying, oh, have the cupcake. It's just a cupcake. Yeah, it's just a cupcake. Like, obviously, long-term, a cupcake's not going to make a difference, but it's what it represents. It represents that you will allow, you to operate on emotions, on feelings, as opposed to operating on standards, or it will allow you to just, take the what's the phrase? Where when you're focused on not short-term enjoyment. I'm like blank. I'm having a brain fart on the phrase.
I know you'll think of it as soon as we're done.
Yeah, but so you're not working on
it's like short-term enjoyment. Yeah, it's like
Well, there's a phrase. I mean, it's like a total like normal word too. It's just not. But like we're playing the long game, because that's ultimately what matters, is playing the long game. But if you always give in to that desire for instant gratification, there we go. Instant gratification versus delayed gratification. Instant gratification is you always give in to those cravings. You give in to no, I don't feel like working out because right now I just don't feel like it. I don't want to train before I go to work. It's early. I just don't feel like it. So you don't do it. Whereas if you don't give into that instant gratification, you say, no, I'm going to hold myself to a standard. I'm going to go do it. And then what do you feel for the rest of the day? You feel awesome. Physically you feel good, but also mentally you feel good because you got yourself up. You experience those endorphins all day long. So you're actually playing that delayed gratification game. And it's the same thing with like not being willing to crack open that door for that cheat meal or for those chips. You're saying no to the instant gratification for the delayed gratification of getting your goals, because that is what it takes. And I say this a lot on social media. I say, I tell you too, in our coaching sessions or anybody, losing weight takes longer than you expected it to take. It's harder than you thought it would be. The weight comes off so much slower than you expected. But as long as you don't quit, it will be so much more satisfying and that you ever imagined. I mean,
it is.
Ever imagined.
It is. And I'm still working on my food. As soon as I start.
It's always work. You're always going to be working on it. Like
I'm sending you process. Last Saturday, I think I sent you pictures of everything I ate to still make sure I'm on track. And then I got sick this week, so everything's been derailed, but I'm getting back on track. And so that just proves the point that, I'm almost 90 days into this thing and I'm still trying to make sure that my food is on point and the things that I do are on point. And I just can't go back, because I could never, ever, ever, ever have anything happen to my foot again. I don't know if I could mentally handle it. Well, it's just not going to happen, because I'm building strength. And I'll bring up another point too, during one of our coaching calls. I think I told you, my surgeon said, or somebody said, hey, listen, if you get to 90% of where you were, that is awesome. And I had that in my brain, like, well, I mean, if I get to 90% of where I used to be, and you were like, absolutely not. I mean, you just kind of, you didn't say it in that manner, but you said, I don't understand. Why would you not want your foot to be 100% of what it is right now? So, talk about, I had this mindset that somebody told me, well, you're only going to be 90%. My original surgeon, y'all, this is the truth. My original surgeon told me, you will never walk barefoot again. And I just want to walk into his office one day and be like, here you go. Let me show you this card. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Not only am I walking barefoot, but I'm getting ready to hike on the trail this summer, but I'm not. But when you have people tell you things like that, I mean, it plays a mental toll on you, and then you begin to believe it. And working with you, I no longer believe that, because the more I build strength, the better my foot does. So I guess you could talk about how you squelched that for me. That mentality.
I remember that call. In fact, I remember saying to you, we're not going to get you to 100%. We're going to get you to 110%. We're going to get you better than what you were before, because why would I have limited thinking from the doctor saying, like putting that, on you that you're never going to do this again. No way. We're going to be better than we were before. And when you believe that, all of a sudden things start to change, and you'll do the work. You get moving in that regard. That's why we use the phrase unstoppable, because that you're not going to accept that. I went, last year I ran a half marathon. I am not a runner. I'm a 215-pound power lifter. I like to lift heavy weights. I'm not a runner. I run once a week for like 1 to 2 miles. I signed up with 24 hours notice for a half marathon, and I just did it because I said to myself, you could do it. Just keep running. You could do it. I know you can do it, because I believe that in myself, because I've done this for so long that I have that self-belief. And it's the same thing with you. The doctor's telling you you're only going to be 90%, and you believe that. You're not going to even get to 90% most likely. You're going to probably get to like 60%. But if you say, no, I'm going to be 110%, well, guess what? You're going to get there. You're going to get there because you believe it. And I genuinely believe that. That's why you have worked out for almost 90 days in a row. All of a sudden people are like, oh, James, dude, these people you need rest days. You need this. You shouldn't work out too much, James. No way. Your body is so much stronger than you ever realized. And when your brain catches up to how strong your body actually is, watch out. That's when things change, and you start to realize, holy crap, I personally have worked out for 758 days in a row, or whatever it is, in a row. No days missed, 0. I've broken a sweat for the last 758 days. All of a sudden and I'm stronger, I'm leaner, I'm more confident, I'm performing. I did a freaking half marathon. Like, I'm not a runner. You just get better. But it takes kind of going. You're not going to grow in easy times. You grow when things are hard. Hard times are what produce growth. Overcoming hard times produce growth. Hard times, when you quit, just make you worse. They cause the depression. They cause the crap to happen in your life. But when you say no, you fight back, you swing back, and you overcome, that's when you grow and you get stronger, you get better. So by, extending ourselves beyond the threshold of what we currently think we can do, well, that's how we stretch ourselves and become better, become stronger. So the same thing with what you've been doing. You're doing all of this work so that we can get you ready for the trail. So you can believe in yourself that, no, my foot is not going to be 90%. I'm going to be 110%, because it's all in your brain. And your body, trust me, your body's stronger than your mind. It's stronger than what you think it is. And I think my 700 and something days in a row shows that. And all these other people who are, our friend Sarah Williams is on well over a year. There's a bunch of people in the Seek to Do More, thread, who are the Seek to Do More program thread, who are almost a year, over 6 months, 9 months, who have like, I can't believe I've worked out every single day. And it's not about like, quote, working out. It's about showing yourself that you are stronger than you think, but it takes pushing yourself beyond that threshold to experience that. But when you do, you'll turn around and you'll be like, whoa, I used to be way back there. Mm-hmm. I'm up here now. I don't even remember getting to this point. I just kept doing. And now look where I am. That's why I use the analogy of sharpening your blade. You don't notice a knife getting sharper. You take a dull knife, you touch the blade. Yeah, it's super dull. Then you start swiping it on a whetstone. Swipe, swipe, swipe. It's getting a little sharper. You touch it again, it's a little sharper. Swipe, 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 swipe. And then all of a sudden you touch and you're like, holy crap, look how sharp this thing is. But you didn't see it changing. You didn't visually see it getting sharper. All of us, you don't notice that it's sharp until you touch that blade. So in the same regard, you don't know, you keep doing the work, showing up day after day. I'm just focused on today. I'm just focused on today. I'm just focused on today. All of a sudden, you get to the starting line of that half marathon, and then you get to the finish line. You're like, my God, I can't believe I did that. Boom. All of a sudden, I just leveled up another level mentally, because I just showed myself what I could do. I showed myself how sharp my knife is. Or in the same regard, all of a sudden challenge arises. You have to overcome this challenge that's put in front of you that you didn't ask for, but you're here. And then all of a sudden you approach it differently. You say, no, bring it on. Bring it on. I got this. I'm a card holder. I can do this. And then you you approach it differently and you're like, whoa, I wouldn't have done that before when my blade was dull. No, my blade is sharp now. So now it's time to slice. And then that is what changes things in life. And you see, I hope everyone listening sees how like it starts with this idea of like wanting to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
But when you build your mind to be that type of person, the weight loss is just a way, it's a catalyst for bringing you to this place. It's a catalyst for bringing you to that place mentally. And you've been doing an amazing job yourself, because I see it in our coaching calls every week. You're so fired up. And now is that just like I told you, just like I said, the people at work, they're going to start asking you questions. They're going to start poking fun at you. They're going to start taking note of what you're doing, because you are taking the bull by the horns. You are actively choosing to improve yourself so that you can be your strongest self. You didn't just sit on the sidelines saying, one day I hope I do X. No, you said, dude, I got to do this. Let me invest in myself, my time, my money, my energy, my life, because I deserve it. I owe it to myself to be my strongest self. And now you're reaping the results. You're reaping the benefits. But not only that, because what good is a sharp knife if it just gets thrown in the drawer? Your knife is sharp. And now what's happening at work? People are asking you about it. People are noticing you. You're inspiring other people to make a little better decisions. The woman about the water and the soda you told me, hey, she's like, hey, I'm drinking water instead of soda. Aren't you proud of me? You inspired that. You impacted her. You are living with intention. And when we live with intention, we impact the world around us. And that's what you're doing. And I told you that's what was going to happen.
I had a lady yesterday. She teaches in the classroom next to mine. And she said, I don't know how you're so calm all the time. And I was like, I didn't think I was calm. She's like, you don't let anything bother you. And I was like, really? Like, that's not how I feel inside.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. I get that from people too. And I always tell people, never let people see you sweat. Don't let people see you sweat. But on
a bunch of people ordered pizza yesterday, and one lady came up to me. She's like, Gayheart, we didn't even ask you. She's like, don't take offense. I know you're going to eat lunch with us, but we didn't ask you because we know you're not going to eat it. I said, I don't take any offense. Let's eat lunch. Like, I still want to, let's eat lunch.
You have your food. We'll enjoy ourselves and make the focus not on the dopamine we get from food, but the dopamine we get from like human interaction, human connection. And that's probably the biggest problem with food. The biggest hardship is we have become accustomed to getting dopamine from food. Yeah. But when we start to realize that, it's like you open the fridge for the 7,000th time, this tonight, it's like, am I hungry or am I searching for a quick dopamine hit? Do I need a quick fix? And I think I've told you this, I use the salmon and vegetables test. I said, if somebody offered me salmon and vegetables, would I eat that right now? And I'm like, I'll eat salmon, but like, my God, am I never going to choose it? Yeah. And if the answer is like, yes, I would actually eat salmon and vegetables if someone gave me, that means I'm actually genuinely hungry. If I said, oh God, I don't want salmon and vegetables right now. Oh, well, actually, I'm not hungry. I'm just looking for a dopamine fix. So I say, okay, how can I channel this into something different to get that dopamine hit? But
you know what does it for me now? Pineapple. Sure. Pineapple.
Oh, the best. Dude, a good pineapple, a good mango, plump grapes. I'm telling you, they hit just as hard as anything else. And then when you really need something that's good, let me give everyone a quick tip. If you want something that's good, something that's clean, something that's healthy, something that actually will still benefit your life and still give you that dopamine hit, a cup of Greek yogurt, frozen blueberries, microwave them first for like 30 seconds. Trust me, microwave frozen blueberries, put them in a cup of Greek yogurt, unsweetened Greek yogurt. You'll get 20 grams of protein and like 90 calories. And then a tablespoon of maple syrup.
I'm putting this in the chat.
Greek yogurt,
frozen blueberries.
Unsweetened Greek yogurt in general, but if you sweeten it, it's still like pretty low calorie. Frozen blueberries, microwave the blueberries for 30 seconds, and then a tablespoon of maple syrup, 55 calories. Maple syrup is natural, or you could use honey too if you're more of a honey person. But then mix it all around. There's a very clean, healthy dessert option, and it will still hit that dopamine need that we all tend to have, and tastes fantastic. And how good is maple syrup? How good is honey?
I mean, there you go. So what did you say? What kind of Greek yogurt? I missed that part.
Just plain.
There
Greek
you go.
Yogurt.
All right, people in the chat, there's your recipe. Hey, I didn't know we were going to hand out recipes today.
Yeah, you got to set people up for success here.
So there you go. All right, James, let's wrap this up.
Sure.
Y'all, you're going to have several days of Jester Section Hiker content coming because I'm starting to round out my 90 days here over the course of the next week. And it just so happens that it coincides with my spring break from school. So I have 10 days and I'm not going to be traveling. I'm going to be staying at home. And James and I have come up with a challenge. And let's not say the name of it. I don't want to give away the name of it yet.
Sure.
But what I'm going to be doing is hiking a certain amount of miles each day for 10 days. And I have not done this in over 2 years. So this is going to be a true challenge for me because I have goals in the future. I want to do a through hike this summer of a 311 mile trail. And I'm going to talk about that later as well. So James, why don't you talk about how important the end of the 90-day challenge is and why you have people do that. And I don't know, I'm excited about the challenge coming up. I could hardly stand it. So, all right, awesome. Tell people why you do this.
Well, so the way that I structure my program is the first month is called the recalibration, where you just kind of recalibrate your life. Like we're going from, most of the time being in this rut to, okay, I need to start firing on all cylinders. Great. Then the second month is the strength month where, okay, now we're going to now that you know the system, you know what we're doing every day. Now let's throw a log on the fire to make it burn brighter and hotter and strengthen areas that we need, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your, your mental toughness, all these different things. And then the third month is the action month, because when you take action, like I said, your blade is sharp. So now it's time to cut. When you take action, that's when things start to change. So I like people creating an actual physical goal that they're going after, or signing up for a challenge or an event or something, because those create unprecedented confidence and self-belief. When you go to do it, you stretch yourself and you say, okay, this is what I want to achieve. Because, when it comes to fitness, nothing builds confidence more than a body that you're proud of and feels good and is strong. And then that transfers over to every other aspect of your life and how you show up as a person, as a man, as a woman, as an adult, as an employee, as a dad, as a mom. It just changes how you show up to the world. And ultimately, we want to be our strongest self, and nothing builds that more than challenging yourself to do something that requires you to see what you're made of, to become your strongest self in real time. So that's why we're doing it. And for you, it's exciting, and I'm super into what we're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. So that means I got to get this episode out before the challenge starts, which I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
I may put it out this afternoon. Who knows if I can get around. There's not much to edit. I'm just going to throw it up and here we go. So I'm excited. The challenge starts very soon, here in a few days, and we're going to be throwing content out there. James has convinced me that this story needs to be told. And, I didn't believe I had a story, but I actually do have a story. And, this is a hiking podcast, and we're both hikers. And my ultimate goal is, to get back to the trail and be able to hike comfortably and have fun. And that's what I'm going to do, no matter what. So I'm excited. James has even done a little bit of artwork. Yeah, for the audio that's going to be coming out. And I guess we're going to be sharing that on Instagram, and I'm going to be sharing some short little episodes on the podcast. And every day I'm going to do a reflection and just get raw on the trail, because that's where I love podcasting from. James, we've talked about this. The best episodes come from people hearing you out on trail. Don't you agree on that?
100%. Because, you listen to a podcast when you're driving in your car, you're sitting in traffic, or you're doing something else. and you always we'd rather be in the woods out there. So it brings you there, and that's exciting.
So you guys, more exciting stuff to come. James, I can almost guarantee this is not the last time that I'm going to have you on the show, because we got more to do together. And hold tight, James. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to switch the screen here and end out the episode. You guys, a lot of content in this episode, a lot of good messages, and I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I am still in the midst of this. And even though I've lost 10 pounds, I've had people say to me, that's it? No, that's not it. I mean, if you want to hear the full story is what I tell them, let's sit down and have a chat. But I'm in this for the long haul because I want to be able to hike. I want to be able to go out on the trails. And I want to be able to do what I want to do for the long term. So that is what we are doing this year and going forward. And whatever content comes out of that, that is what is going to be happening. So I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're here on the live, I truly appreciate it. If you're listening to the audio version at this point, I truly appreciate it. And you could help us spread the word about, transforming your life, getting yourself back in hiking shape, not worrying about what tent you're using, because if you're not in shape and you can't hike, it doesn't matter what tent you have. So on that note, y'all, look forward to the next one. Be safe out there, everybody. And as always, happy section hiking.